Live, we have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat, period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Lifeboat. I'm Tommy, and I will be your host this evening. Hold on 1 second, people. Man, I'm not good at this. All right, there we go. Let's see if I can make that a little bit bigger. I might be able to read it. So before we get rolling, I spoke with Heather Joy today, and she's home from the hospital, which is really, really good. She's still in an awful lot of pain. She really is. And if we could get some prayers and some thoughts for Heather, because I mean, she's going through it. This is it's been days, and she is still just really, really having a tough time as far as the pain goes. Oh, look at that, Heather! It's good to see you. You made it. Well, I'm glad that you're here, Heather. I really am. Now I feel silly, but I'm glad that you're here. No, we still need to pray for Heather. She's going through it. We also have another crew member named Eli, and I don't know that you know who he is because he doesn't participate much in the chat, but he means an awful lot to me. So if we could keep Eli, if you can remember that name and keep him in your thoughts and prayers, he needs it. He needs it. He's going through it. So this morning, I was talking about some of the stuff that I did last night, and I had an opportunity to spend a little time with some people in this community. And it's weird because, I don't know, sometimes it doesn't feel like there is a community. It feels like there's a bunch of little islands of people that sort of have their own slant or whatever. And you know, last night in that forum, I think there was 5 people all together on the little, you look like the Brady Bunch, where they've got the boxes all set up. So, excuse me. So I'm on the Brady Bunch panel, and we're all talking, and I'm not kidding you. By the end of that discussion, so to speak, I heard 3 or 4 insults that were just really cruel. And because I realized that this is what everybody there does, right? We all, in some way or another, spend a decent amount of time talking about sobriety and trying to put together a model that'll help some people. And then not everybody does that. Some people lecture. Some people just they make a video and put it up, and they go away. When you try to build a community, it's really kind of a different thing. And I know if you watch any YouTube channel, I don't care what you watch, right? You can watch guys like the Jackass stuff, where people are jumping off of roofs on the tables, and they're going to say, the subscribers here aren't subscribers, they're family. It's just one of those things that people say over and over and over again, right? There's nobody that doesn't say it. However, we're a family. And before you start laughing at that, if you get a group of people that spend, a few hours a week, some of them spend a few hours a day consistently. There's the crew that never really goes away. And that's happened for closing in on 2 years with like a 2-month break where the hosts had to get their head screwed back on, because if you do this long enough, you really start to take on a lot of the issues of the people that you're talking to and trying to help. So that's a long time. And you can absolutely build some pretty serious connections during that time. For real, right? And let's see. We've buried how many people? I mean, how many YouTube channels, have YouTube funerals for people that we really cared about? I don't think this is a channel like any other. I really don't. And for that reason, you end up really kind of putting your heart and soul into it. And I don't regret that in any way, shape, or form. I really don't. But you get the crap kicked out of you pretty routinely. And that's just part of doing anything on YouTube, right? You're going to have people that break you down. And we've said it a million times. Those who can create. Those who can't, troll. However, if you start getting crap from somebody who can create, I don't know. I should have the thickest skin in the world, and it really shouldn't bother me. It should just roll off my back. But it didn't. And so I started, this is a subject I'm sure we've done, but it's probably been a hot minute because I don't remember the last time we did. Maybe one of the Words Matter videos talked about this, but the whole sticks and stones may break my bones, but names can never hurt me. Whoever said that was really an idiot. Having spent a little time incarcerated in a place where sticks and stones are part of, maybe not daily, but certainly monthly activity, you're going to end up getting into altercations. And I don't care how much of a peacemaker you are, there's just no way to avoid it. It's a pretty savage place. Prison in this country is not good. And some of the ones that I was at were particularly bad. I mean, if you Google Victorville or Lewisburg, I was at some pretty ugly establishments. And I'll tell you something. Somebody hits you really hard in the head. Usually by the following day, you're good. I mean, you may be swelled up and you may have, a hematoma, big old black eye, or might split your lip, it might bust your nose. But by the next day, you're pretty much back to business as usual. But if somebody says something that just sort of cuts you to the bone, it could take a whole lot longer than that. And it can lead to all kinds of other things that happen in your head. If you start to believe the things that people say about you, then it becomes an issue. If it honestly makes you question who you are and why you do what you do. Recently, and we all saw it. And then there's some you didn't see, right? In fact, there's more you didn't see than there is that you did. But going back to the very first day that we monetized this channel, that was 75 days after we opened up the channel, right? So we were in, I don't know, we put the paperwork in, and then I think it was like late September, a couple of years ago. That was when we went online to be able to make money, start making 2 cents a month, whatever you can make on YouTube. And from that moment on, the Tommy's a greedy bastard started. That, all of this money is for me, and I'm taxing all of these people who are supposed to be trying to get sober. And I know the truth. I know what it costs to run a YouTube channel the first year. And then this isn't just running a YouTube channel. We've taken the time to help people that really needed help. We've put people on medical assisted treatment, and now we're up over 20 people that we've put on medical assisted treatment to help them get off of usually opiates, although now we have 2 people who are taking naltrexone to help with their alcohol use disorder. And you people have been incredibly generous. The crew has been incredibly generous. You know, you guys donate money and the money goes back out, right? I have a job. This is not what I do to make a living. And with the exception of one microphone that I purchased at a time where I didn't have anything else, and you kept saying, I can't hear you. And somebody made a donation and wrote specifically on it, man, buy a microphone. Other than that, I've never taken a dollar out of this. Never done it. So I know it shouldn't bother me. And for the most part, it doesn't. But that, greedy, that's one that, rolls off your back. And then the other one that you start to hear, and if you host a channel, people are going to call you a narcissist. Guaranteed. And there's probably a couple of shrinks out there, people with a lot of initials after their names, who say, there, you probably got some tendencies. If you're going to sit in front of a camera and put yourself out and do this, then chances are there's something there, and whether it's narcissism or whether it's the exact opposite, maybe this is something that you do to compensate for really heavy duty insecurities. But one way or the other, there's probably something going on in the dome of everybody that that starts YouTube channels. And you got to think about that. And the longer you do it, the more you realize it. So if you pop onto the lifeboat, you're never going to see a picture of me. There's the cartoon now, but I'm not going to put pictures of me up. And I certainly wouldn't put pictures of me up, say, working out, right? Or doing anything like that. It's really funny how some people, kind of choose to, you put yourself out there to the world. I don't want my face as the emoji. And when we started rolling on this thing, it was the Tommy Scoville show. And I hated that. I told you from the very first day, man, I hate that name. We got to do something about that name. So we let the crew name the boat. Right? That's how we got the name of the lifeboat. That came from the crew. Voted on it, in fact. The reason that we do live is because the crew voted on it. Actually, that one may have just been a demand. I don't even know that it was like 100 to 1 or something, but they wanted this. And the reason they want this is because this is group therapy. And I'm to the point, and I know that Mark was to the point, especially now, because we've been through some stuff, that if everybody in the comment section is ignoring what I'm saying right now, I am absolutely cool with that. I really am. Somebody who's a hell of a lot smarter than me said, who cares if they're ignoring you? Because the only people that really need to listen to you are the people that got there that night. Because the crew's going to do the welcome thing. Hey, welcome to the lifeboat. Check out the Facebook group. Here's where you can get some assistance. Send an email to this person. Let us know what your substance of choice is, right? But they're not going to link right up and start sharing. It's very rare that happens the very first day. Instead, they lay back in the cut, or they don't even put their name up into the, they don't even join the group chat, and they just lay in the cut. Well, those people are probably listening to me, right? That's probably the only crew that's listening to me. And that's good. That's good. Because most of the magic that happens here happens in the comment section. So when people say stuff like, the lifeboat saved me, that tickles me. You have no idea. That's my drug of choice. But it's not petting some narcissistic thing in me. If it was, I'd still be calling this the Tommy Scoville Show. And the other funny thing is, for the love of God, if what I was trying to do was get internet famous, right? YouTube famous, I could have stayed in the family business, so to speak, right? And started off with 130,000 or whatever subscribers. I sort of broke away from that. When I did the very first video here on the lifeboat, there was a lot of people that hit that first video, like freaky amounts of people. I mean, it went up really, really quick. For somebody's first video on YouTube, it was bizarre because everybody was coming to see what, my brother's little brother was going to do. Was he going to do a challenge? Was he going to drink a bottle of tincture? Instead, I came out and admitted to my past and said that I wanted to help people. And I assure you, that's why I started this channel. I don't know how many videos that have said, please do me a favor. I know you're being nice. I know you're being nice. And it means the world to me when people say, you know what, Tommy, I love you and I wouldn't be here. But I started thinking about this. Can you imagine if you just showed up here? If you just showed up here and you haven't caught one of these, or you haven't watched one of the burials, for lack of a better way to put it, you haven't watched one of the videos where we lost somebody, then you really have no idea who I am. But it would look like I'm Jim Jones, right? Like we're all getting ready to go to French Guiana. I'm proud as hell of the fact that in this YouTube channel, men have absolutely no issue telling another man they love him. And people of the opposite sex can say, I love you, without somebody calling an attorney to say, do you realize what this person said to me? Because we live in a day and age today where, true story, I had about 4 watches I had to mail, and this was 2 weeks ago. So I had to drive to the post office. This is what I do every day, right? I go and I drop off these watches. I don't want to put them in the mailbox because I'm always freaked out that somebody's going to steal, a couple of them, and then I'm going to be in deep trouble. So I drove out there, and there was a woman, and I would say she was probably, I don't know, I'm bad at that. She could have been anywhere from 30 to 50, but so she was walking up to the door, and she had a fairly decent sized package in her hand. So I said, let me get that for you. And this woman said to me, I don't need a man to do anything for me. Damn, I'm sorry. Sorry. I really was trying to be a nice person. You know what I mean? I didn't say, hey, can I get your phone number? I said, can I get that door for you? I didn't say anything to this woman, by the way. I don't know what's going on in her life. Somebody that lashes out at you like that, something bad's going on in that individual's life. If on the way up to that door, she sized me up and knew everything there was to know about Tommy and could make a decision and then treat me like crap, there's something really sick going on in that woman's mind. God bless her. I hope something good happens to it. And I mean that. But words can do real damage. They really can. And they've done some damage to me recently. They really have. I've gotten a lot of emails from people that say, you're not spending as much time in the chat. Some of that is literally just based on the fact that I'm really struggling to read it. I really am. No matter how much I blow it up, my vision is just not what it was. It wasn't even what it was when I started the boat, but there's been other stuff. For instance, have you noticed there's no merch? I know everybody likes the idea of merch, but what we're going to get is that narcissist greedy bastard is getting $29 a shirt. And I don't make these shirts. I don't print these shirts. They're campaigns, right? So that way I don't have to add one more thing to do because on top of the lifeboat, which I do 2 hours a day, I have a job. And that job takes a lot of time. Sometimes repairing a watch can take 3 days. So it's something that I farm out. I send the designs. And one of them said, one of the ones that we had in this campaign coming up said, I love this boat. Because a lot of people put that at the end of the live chats. I love this boat. I think it's beautiful. I really do. But it leads a lot of people to think that there's something wrong with me. And when people use words that can hurt people, you make a diagnosis of somebody, right? You call somebody schizophrenic, right? you don't know this person. This happens a lot in social media. People will believe that they know you based on 44 words, right? Or 17 videos or 700 videos. You watch somebody who, no matter what we do here, people, with the exception of the deaths, with the exception of the deaths and a couple of other really emotional shows that we've done here, no matter how much I'm trying to talk about sobriety or do anything else, it's, you are in front of a camera. There's a certain level. I certainly am different when I'm not in front of the camera. And I've been really honest about that from Jump Street. I'm not patient. I've got issues. I've got issues I'm working on. And I've never claimed to be a good person. Not once. I haven't. But I'll tell you what, I'm not a greedy bastard. I'm not. And I'm not a narcissist either. Believe that. So I didn't roll out the merch. And on the bright side, I didn't buy it. It's just a campaign. But I didn't start the campaign because we're just, honestly, and I know you're saying just, who cares what people think? It's not just what people think. It's what people say. It's what people, go out of their way. And let me paint you a scenario just for giggles. Forget me. Choose just anybody else, because there's a lot of us here, right? There's, in theory, thousands of us here, and not at any one given time, obviously, but we kind of go in and out. Let's say you just say something stupid one day. You don't think it's stupid. It's an opinion or it's whatever, but you use your tongue like a weapon. And you say some stuff that could have the potential to really hurt somebody. You don't know the day that person's having. Now, chances are the people who use their tongues like that don't care. But you don't know the day that person's having. What if that is the anniversary of somebody's death? Maybe they're really having a bad day before they ever hear any of that. And as addicts, we know that our brain is not our friend. In fact, it's the enemy. Your brain wants you to get high. Your brain wants you to get drunk. That's the fight, all right? That's the daily fight. And on a day where somebody lost somebody a year earlier or 3 years earlier or whatever, and they're already having a bad day, and they hear just some stuff about them that puts them off the edge, and they say, man, I just got to get out of here, right? What's the advice we give? You start really feeling squirrely, get out. Don't look at the same four walls. Get outside, go for a walk, change your environment, right? Start breathing stuff in, smelling stuff, all kinds of stuff that's going to, affect the brain. Now you're going to get out of your own skin, so to speak, because we don't feel comfortable in our own skin. So start bombarding your senses with all kinds of other stuff to look at, smell, be a part of. And a little exercise at the same time. It's a beautiful concept. Works lovely. It really does. But this person doesn't do that. Instead, they get in their car. They're just going to go for a ride. Roll the windows down. If it's a convertible, maybe they drop the top. And they just start driving around. And I'm telling you, this happens. They say, I'm going to go look at a shirt at such and such a store. Or I'm going to go see if they're selling any watches at such and such a place. This is what happened to me the last time I got out of prison. I drove over to a place that I knew was that close to the neighborhood that I could get dope in anytime I wanted. And I told you the story. I didn't fail that day. I mean, technically I did. That's when I started my relapse. But I went home proud as hell. I was right over by the hood. I didn't even go in there. The next time I was even more proud because I drove into the hood. I even went to the guy's house that I used to get dope from. Hung out with him for about an hour. I was there when the guy delivered his dope. And I walked away, proud as hell. 3 days later, I had a needle in my arm. 4 months later, I was back in prison for having sold weapons illegally. I backslid to worse than where I was before I had quit. The day that I drove to that neighborhood the first time, I got into a massive fight with the woman that I was with at that time. Is it her fault that I went over there? No, it's not. It's not at all. It's my fault. But I was looking for a reason. I was looking for a reason. So let's be nice to one another in recovery, because you just don't know when someone's looking for a reason. You just don't know when the cat you're talking to or about is this close. Every time you're that close and you don't use, it's a miracle. I don't care if you believe in God, right? Call it whatever you want to call it, but it is a fortuitous freaking event if you get that close to pulling the trigger and you don't. You keep the streak of days sober alive. Man, that's a beautiful thing. And we've bent over backwards, haven't we? I mean, we got groups all over the place that you can reach out and contact people. You know, you can leave a comment that says, hey, man, I'm in deep trouble. I feel like using. You can go back and look at the thumbnails if you're new to the boat. And look at the one that looks like me falling out of an automobile, marked the thumbnail, and it actually disturbs some people because it does look a lot like me. And it says something about Narcan, and I got a phone call like 3 o'clock in the morning from somebody who was on the boat saying, I'm pretty sure I'm overdosing. And I said, I'm pretty sure you called the wrong number. You know, you should have called that 3-digit number. I said, you got any Narcan? You got to go wake up your husband, right? He's going to be pissed. I realized that. He's going to be more pissed if you did. You know, just go. I said, you need Narcan. And she's like, is that nasal spray stuff? I'm like, yeah, they gave me some of that at rehab. I'm like, get it. Get it and spray that stuff up your beak. But the point is, the phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning constantly. I'm not complaining. I'm not. And I don't want a pat on the back. I don't. Because I'm not really a narcissist. I'm a guy that'll take a phone call at 3 o'clock in the friggin' morning to keep somebody from overdosing. That's who I am. That's who I am. I'm a guy that doesn't want to see anybody end up in prison. You guys know that my ex got me, right? Got me. When I went away, she stole my identity and ran up bills to the tunes of over 50 grand. All I got to do is call, and she's going to prison. That's enough money. And one of them was fraud during the C plus math epidemic. That's a federal offense. She'd go to the feds. I could send her back right to where I just was. That would make me sick. It really would. I don't understand how people can love somebody on Monday and hate him on Tuesday. Women seem to be better at this than guys, and I'm not being a dick. I'm just telling you the way I see it. But I don't hate that woman. I don't think I'm capable of hating that woman. I don't think I'm capable of ever being anywhere near her again either. You know what I mean? I don't see us being friends, even taking the occasional friendly phone call to see how you're doing. I don't see that happening. But I don't want to put her in prison either. I don't want to be the person that does that. I really don't. And why am I saying this? Because I don't think there's a lot of people out there that know who I am. And I'm not talking about the original crew, because there are some people here that have seen all of it. There are people here that have seen every single bit of it. And you know who you are. And I love you guys. I really do. But please, just put YAL. If you want to say something really nice, this is a code we used to use. You want to say something really nice about the caps, just write YAL. I'll know what you mean. And there's a show we did on it, what YAL means and all that. It means you are lucky. Because I did a show and I said, you know what? Everybody thanks you. They come to your channel and then they thank you. We're lucky that we have people, because most YouTube channels don't have anybody. You know, the average YouTube channel is never, ever going to get to that point where they can monetize. It's a very, very small amount. Of course, we blew that out of the water, didn't we? We say heroin, cocaine, meth. The algorithm thinks we're talking about the stuff in a good way. And if you ever want to complain about that, which I've done only once because it's a waste of time, they say a human being has reviewed your case and has decided that they still don't want to, it still doesn't pass community standards. They think I'm Cheech and Chong. They think I'm here saying, you guys need to do some blow. I write on every time you got to hit this little clicker thing, educational, right? Trying to help people. So as far as the greed goes, I got to be the dumbest greedy guy in the world. Should have stayed robbing banks. If greed was my issue, I picked the wrong, the wrong hobby, right? The wrong hobby. This ain't a job. It's maybe 40 hours a week, but it's not a job. But I love it. I really do. I love it. I don't intend to stop, but okay, we'll keep it 100% real. Two of the things that were said by people on this boat who are still on this boat. And the other thing that was said by somebody that I've never met, but I really had a lot of respect for. I think they're really trying to do some great things, or did. I don't know. I really don't know. Last night I was talking to these people on this panel, and I was doing we should all try to get together and do what we're doing right now and show everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I think we could put this out to everybody's channel at once so that they could hear people with different modalities, with different thought processes about how you get sober. And even that jackwagon who thinks that you don't have to get sober because you can just fix yourself. Not very bright, but you can still have that on the panel, right? You can still have that on the panel. None of them wanted to do it. None of them wanted to do it at all. Do you know why they don't want to do it? Because they don't want to give anybody else a win. I'm dead serious. They don't want to give anybody a win. What if they get more people? What if when we do a collab, that dude steals half my people? Right? What if some of my people go over and subscribe to his channel? Then maybe they'll get sober over there. Maybe you're not the ticket. Maybe I'm not the ticket. Maybe anybody on that panel isn't the ticket. And maybe giving them an option of some other people might save one life. But I can truthfully say, of the people on that panel, actually, I'm exaggerating, because there was one guy that said to me, I would do that. So I don't want to, that would be dishonest. One individual on that panel said, I would do that. And if I'm not mistaken, he had more subs than anybody, right? And the usual thought process is, if you have more subs, then you don't ask a channel with less subs. But the normal thought process doesn't have anything to do with sobriety. The normal thought process is about building a group in hopes of getting famous or getting rich. So the greedy bastard thing, it came from people on the boat, which is painful. It really is. It's painful. You know, I don't mind the trolls. I don't mind the trolls, because they don't look at you every day and say, you're doing a great job, thank you, or I love you, or any of those things. They're people that have absolutely no ability to create anything. So they tear down other people. It's their get down. It's what they do. That's, how do you get upset at that? Honestly, if you get upset at that, then you're in the wrong business, right? Because you're going to get that every friggin' day. If you put up as much content as we do, then you're going to get beat on. And they don't just beat on you. They take your videos and play them and say smart ass stuff while you're talking, which is really kind of funny. I think I should get a view for that or something, shouldn't I? We need to get those views up for that monetization that we don't really have, even though we have it. But if I sound like I'm complaining to people, I'm not. I'm just trying to explain to you a couple of things. And it is absolutely germane to what we're talking about today. Words hurt, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't. We give them way too much power. It's true. And I don't give them as much power as most people. But words are my life. No question, for real, right? Words are my life. In everything that I do, my communication skills are all I got, right? It's all I got. And a crazy thing happened to me. I got plucked off the planet, put somewhere else for somewhere between 10 and 13 years. Honestly, I lose track. And while I was gone, this place changed. I mean, big time. Big time. I walked out into a world that I don't really understand. And I got a decent vocabulary. But gaslighting? I never heard of that. The hell's a gaslighting? Honestly, what was that? Virtue signaling. Okay, look, I can figure that one out. Like, even not knowing what's up, I could figure that one out. Or sis. That's what I used to call my sister, right? Growing up. But that isn't what it means anymore. And they kind of pulled these words out of midair. And then when I come out to a world where you say the wrong thing and people get offended in ways that you can't believe and get angry and they will extrapolate every single thing about you going back to birth. You said something that rubs somebody the wrong way, and they'll start with, guaranteed he wasn't breastfed. And then they will go from there all the way up with a diagnosis of, whatever else is wrong with you. Now let's cancel them. Not everybody, some of them. But the cancel culture is real. It's real. It's crazy. It's crazy. But words have gained so much more power than they ever have before. There are people in our country today writing bills to try to stop free speech. They want to put a whole list of words up there that you can literally be prosecuted for saying. Boy, I hope I die before anything like that happens. Right? I really do. I really do. I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to live in that world. And the sensitivity in the world that we live in now is astounding. It's astounding. And it's stuff that doesn't make sense. Just a lot of people are really, really quick to be mean with their mouth. And the crazy thing is, it's usually in payback for something that was said that was nice. Can I open that door for you? You look great in that outfit. I'm not a big fan of the guy from New York who said to the woman, you're making that look good. You're making that lab coat look good. They almost nailed him to a tree for saying you made that lab coat look good. Honestly, I didn't see it. And I'll tell you something. I didn't like that guy. He's not my brand. I was happy to see that guy go, but I don't think, that wasn't the way to do it. I thought that was pretty messed up. Some of the things we're taking victimhood to such a place that one wrong word. So on the boat, let's try to make sure that we're nice to one another. Now, if somebody says something, ask them about it and do it lovingly. Hey man, what did you mean? Because that stung. That really hurt. What did you mean by that? Do you really think that's what I am? You really think that's who I am? Communicate. Because you know what happens when you don't communicate? You go like this. Right? That's why I'm having this conversation right now. Because I'm not going to pull it in. I'm not going to hold this inside and start having the internal monologue in my head repeat greedy bastard narcissist over and over again for a week or two until I start going in the wrong direction. And then I get up one Friday and I don't make my bed. And then I don't make my bed on Saturday either. And the litter box, poor squirrel's got to use the dirty one. Starts with the smallest stuff in the whole world for me, peeps. Starts with the smallest stuff in the whole world. I started ignoring the little things, the things that I didn't do when I was a drug addict, the things that I only do when I'm sober. That's the canary in the coal mine, so to speak. That's how I can tell that I'm going in the wrong direction. So you would think that if I don't make my bed for a couple of days, then I go, holy crap, I got to do something about this. Fortunately, for the last 7 3/4 years, I've been able to do that. I really have. I've been able to do that. But as far as the sticks and stones, words can do way more damage than sticks and stones. And the nature of what we do, putting ourselves out here, you're going to get hit with them almost every day. And if you take it a step further and reach out to people, you probably aren't going to do it right. Not to make anybody happy. Sometimes cultural differences mean that, man, you can use the wrong phraseology, right? I don't know. And look, I'm not the brightest bulb. I'm not. But I would like to see more people sober. I really would. And there's not much I wouldn't do to try to see more people sober. And just as important, I would like to see people with a alcohol use disorder or people with a opiate use disorder. It's really funny, isn't it? Alcoholic. You can't say that anymore. And I'm all for saying anything you want me to say that's going to make it so that that person doesn't feel like they're being judged. I'll call it whatever that person wants so that they don't feel judged, because that's the worst feeling in the world. It really is. The worst feeling in the world is that feeling that you're being judged by somebody, by society, by a person. And that's usually how the insults come, isn't it? Think about it. When words hurt, aren't they usually wrapped up in judgments? You're not really this, you're that. Snap judgments. I guarantee you're one of those people that can't get treated, or you're one of those people that isn't really in recovery. Anybody that says those people when they're talking about anything need psychiatric care. For real. Because you're taking a blanket statement and saying every single person that falls into this category is that. And that's awful. That's awful. In fact, you know what it is? Which is great, really funny, great, because they are the generation that can't handle anything that's being said this way, right? But it's prejudice. You're prejudging somebody based on what parameters? Don't say things that are hurtful. Don't say things that are judgmental. Do not say things that are going to hurt your fellow man or woman on this boat or off this boat, anywhere in between. Why did my screen just go dull? We owe it to one another to treat each other better than the world treats us. Please tell me you agree with that. Because if you don't, I've been spinning my wheels for 1.5 years, 2 years. Hold on, people. Squirrel knocked a plug out. That would explain a lot. That's why. So, let's see here. Ultra Maga says, I really liked going to AA and NA meetings. When I lived in Southern California, they were amazing. And I met some really good people. The Northern California NA and AA meetings are kind of poopy, though. Poopy. That's a word that does not get enough action. I like that. He's not cursing in the live chat. Good for you, brother. You know what? I've said it a million times. You're hearing things, that have been repeated a million times. But if you force somebody to go to a meeting, then you're going to get people that don't want to be at meetings. And people that don't want to be at meetings certainly don't want to participate. And they don't want to listen the same way to the person who's talking, right? And that means that the addict that gets up and says, I've really been struggling this week, and there are some feelings that are unresolved, because I didn't have a dad in my life, or I didn't have a mom in my life, or whatever it is. They're looking at 60 sets of eyes that don't want to be in that room. You know what that looks like? It looks like judgment. It looks like somebody's just, I got to listen to this. I'd rather be in the car getting high. And that's what happened to those programs in our country. I don't know about the rest of the world. I really don't. But the numbers are not in our favor. They're not. So we have to do everything within our power. If you find somebody and you come to realize that they're trying to stay sober, right? Don't do anything that could hurt that. Really. And you know what? Sometimes you might, just because you're stupid. Seriously, what you did is dumb. That could be me. That very well could be me. Maybe I'm just, what is the term? A caveman. Okay. Toxically masculine. What the hell? No, I'm not metrosexual, whatever. I've been known to tell women today that they're attractive. Boy, you could get slapped back to the Stone Age for that. And where I grew up, that was not considered at all sexist or mean or anything else, or to take away from them. Now, if you said they were sexy, that's bad form, or hot, right? Or you give them a whistle, right? There are things that are really, but to say, you know what, you look great in that outfit, you can't say that anymore. You can't. They have hijacked those words. They've taken them over. You're not allowed to say them. You're not allowed to say them. Wow. And boy, you will offend people. So if I have ever offended anybody on the boat or anywhere else by saying that you are attractive, well, God forgive me, please. Or if I have offended you saying anything, forgive me. I do not want to offend people in recovery. I really don't. Outside the recovery community, I'm not much too worried about people. I'm not. Because they're air quotes normal. But we're not. And I think you got to take that into account. You know, we're not quite right. And we all have admitted that. But very often, I don't think we all know how far not quite right you are. Like I said earlier, I told a young woman she looked like Taylor Swift. She acted like I was coming on to her. I love my wife, lady. But I felt bad for her. Someone might have heard her. You know what, militant vegan? You're a good dude. Because honestly, to say that, that's, you know what? I bet she was hurt. I bet she was hurt. For that to be your thought, that's good stuff, man. Do you have to have a certain amount of subscribers to go live? You do. I do not remember what that number is. I do not remember what that number is, but you could Google it. Just if you Google how many, and you know what, they may have changed it. I remember YouTube, you used to be able to just go live, and you also used to be able to monetize if you hit 1,000 people. Now you have to hit 1,000 people and do 4,000 hours of view time in 1 year. Yeah, you have to have 1,000. Is that what you have to go live, Full of Hope? Or are you asking me? Yeah, no, to monetize, you had to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. And I know that sounds like a hell of a lot, but you'd be surprised how fast you could pull it off, especially if you got a crew like the lifeboat crew. Like I remember talking to Mark and going, I don't understand what's going on. You would not believe how many hours we got. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But we had people on the lifeboat who had 4 different devices on at the house and were watching one video after the other. They were clocking 15, 20 hours a day at the lifeboat to try to help us out. The crew here is amazing. You know what? I got no problem subscribing to you. Just, is it the name of the channel your name, or what? What's the name of the channel? Is it The Life of Dennis Bruce? Is that what the channel's called? The Life of Me. That's got to be you, right? All right. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. We should probably give them a hand, especially if you're talking about. Is this going to be like a sobriety thing? You're going to be talking about what happened to you with your addiction? Yeah, good for you. Absolutely. I think we should all do that. I don't think there can be enough of these channels, man. I don't think there could be enough of these channels. And when you get up and running, come on, we'll do an interview with you on here. And that way everybody can see you, everybody can hear you, and then they can jump right off of the live and go over and subscribe to you. So that is definitely something that could be done. Buddha? I didn't see Buddha. Normally I can tell when Buddha shows up. I have an option for live on my PC, but not on my mobile. Here's the thing about the mobile stuff, people. I don't know what everybody else's stuff looks like. We did 800 hours or something of live stuff last year. And we got an email from him that said, you're going to be part of a beta test. So not only can I go live on the phone, but I can go live on the phone and invite people to be on the phone as well. So I can do a split screen on the phone. But they said they just picked a select crew. I mean, small for the big red button is probably 500,000, but we were fortunate enough. You know what, Dennis? That's a really nice thing to say. I appreciate that. But I'm telling you, people, you got to start going YAL. You are lucky. That's what I want you to say. That's what I want you to say. So when people show up here, they think, you know what, that host is lucky. Because it's amazing the things that people can think about you. But I love that. And you know what? My brother's a hero. He really is. Johnny's got a huge channel. You know what I mean? He's got a big following. It took guts for him to walk out and do what he did. Because for him to say, I used to do heroin, I've done coke, I've done all of these things, I did some crimes, for him to say that, he's never sworn in 5,000. I don't know how many videos he's got, but it's ridiculous how many videos he's done. He's never cursed. He's got this really cool, cool sort of family vibe. And there are people who say, I have no problem with, you know what, Full of Hope? I like that better. That works. That works. I'll take I'm blessed. I'll take that all day long. I'll take that all day long. And you know what? It'll bum out people that don't believe that you can be blessed. That's way better. Full of Hope, you're a genius. M. Hunt, say that about my brother, please. Don't say that about me. Johnny is a legend. No question. He really is. But my brother's earned that. My brother's, what he does on the big red button, the amount of pain that my brother has put himself through for the entertainment of others is bizarre, right? I mean, he does dig it at some level. Yeah, but I drank a bottle of tincture. I did a tube of terror and followed it with a bottle of tincture, and I cannot explain to you how much that hurt. Honestly, with all of the things that I've done in my life and all the crap I've been through with the skiing and the injuries and all of that, nothing ever hurt like that. It folded me in half. I'm not kidding you, like a wallet. Like my knees and my chest were touching each other, and I could not straighten out. And that was for a long time. If I could have straightened out my body, I would have drove myself to the hospital. I'd probably be pulling my hair out after seeing everything you and Mark have gone through, Tommy. Yeah, you know what? V, you have seen everything. You've been here the whole time. You've been here for a lot of it, V. You go way back to the very beginning. So I think if you haven't seen all of it, you've seen most of it, V. You really have. Yeah. You know what? I like the blessed thing. I really do. Ultra Maga says, I'm ultra blessed. You know what, Dennis? I wish you could have met my dad too. He was the gold standard, man. He really was. He never gave me a bad piece of advice. I swear to God, he never once gave me a bad piece of advice. And you know what? He'd get really, really bent out of shape about the stupidest things in the world. Like me. He'd pull up to a red light, and if it didn't turn fast enough, you were going to hear him gripe about it. And, I live in the middle of nowhere, and the light won't change. But if the chips were down and you were having bad times or whatever, he was as cool as a cucumber. Every time you really thought, man, I screwed up so bad, he was going to crucify me. It's just not what you got. He would be there to love you and pick you up. And I got really blessed. I really did. I got really blessed. And I know a lot of people don't get that, but Thanks, Calhoun. I'm going to end on that note. Alrighty, crew. That was cruel, Spanx. Do that on the air. I love you. I really do. It's my son. That's my son. And he's sober. It's my son and he's sober. Alrighty, peeps. I'm Tommy Scoville. I'm going to get up 11 hours from now when the rest of the world is sleeping. And I'm going to come and hang out with you guys because you're the crew of the lifeboat. All right. So do me a favor. From this point on, YAB. It'll be fun. No one else will know what the hell it means. And if they really want to know, they'll have to watch a bunch of live feeds. And that'll be even funnier because they don't like me. YAB. I love it. YAB. And you know who's going to put it up first? I guarantee you. I bet you it's already up. Charlie Mullins. Because Charlie is as absolutely as faithful as anything you could set your watch by Charlie Mullins. He has been very, very good to my family. For real. Charlie was there when my dad passed. And you know what? Screw all of those people that don't get it. For real. Screw all the people that don't get it. I know that sounds mean, but they don't get it. That's what it is. They don't get it. They think they do. They really think they do. All right. I appreciate you guys. Oh, yeah. You know what? Blue, oh, man, it tells you how absolutely floored I was by Spanx Calhoun. Okay, I am blessed, people, and I will be back in 11 hours. And you know what's coming? As always, this is a cat in a basket. Say goodnight, squirrel. Right on cue. Good night, everybody. God bless.